Oh no, Aunt Glizzy. I don't know one rapper. I don't know one rapper from Richmond, Virginia, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Richmond, Virginia is kind of similar to DC. They never really had any rappers. I think the closest rapper Richmond, Virginia had was a dude named Red Rum. I think he got signed to Little Boosie, and things just didn't work out, man. Richmond, Virginia is one of those cities that actually supports other rappers more than they support their own. I remember when Little Boosie actually came to Richmond, right, to do a feature with a dude. And I know the dude that he did the feature with. He's actually about to get out of prison in about a couple days. His name is Mac Millie. He's been rapping for a real long time. Mac been rapping since like the early 2000s, right? So I mean, I'm not really into rap like that. You know what I mean? I kind of like I listen to rap, but I don't listen to rap like I used to. I'm more so into the R&B thing from back in the days. I be listening to music from the '70s. You know what I'm saying? But we. I mean, Richmond. Yeah, I don't even know a rapper from Richmond to be honest with you, and I'm from here. You know what I mean? Look, that's Mac. That's Boosie, bro. That's a little hood in Richmond called Afton, man. And unfortunately, we treat other rappers like gold. When they come down here, we give them, oh man, they treat them so good, man. They give them food, they give them security, they do features with them, and things don't, you know. I mean, to Mac's credibility, you know what I mean. He's always in and out of jail and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna put it on Mac, you know. Um, DJs down here don't support their artists. You know what I mean? Clubs down here don't support their artists. I mean, Richmond is more so a city that really doesn't support its own rappers, man. Like I said, I can't even name a rapper from Richmond. I can name him because I know him and I know he's been rapping for a long time. But as far as rappers, yeah, Richmond doesn't have any rappers, man. Richmond has little small rappers that probably get about like 10,000 views on their videos. But as far as like a mainstream rapper that can represent the whole identity of the city, nah. We don't have any rappers like that. That's the truth. But as far as like the relationship between Richmond and DC, I don't really think there's a relationship. I think DC, see, they get along more so with Northern Virginia, and Northern Virginia is a rich place, man. If you got people in Arlington, Alexandria, I've been to those cities. Those cities are very rich. I mean, I can't afford to live in those cities. My rent is like $900 a month for like a two-bedroom apartment. You know what I mean? I can't get by in Alexandria or Arlington with that kind of money. You know, I think you need at least like $3,500 for a two-bedroom apartment to live in those types of cities. And I think DC has more of a bond with Maryland. You know what I mean? So Richmond and DC really don't have a relationship with each other unless they go to the feds or something like that. And then it's like a forced relationship. You're forced to be friends with these guys because you come from the same vicinity. But there's no real relationship between people in Richmond and DC. It's two different cultures, man. You know, but me, I have a lot of friends from DC. One thing I've always admired about the DC guys is they run the federal they run the feds, man. You got to give it to them. There was a point I mean, I know the history of the feds because I know people who are in there and they give me reports about what's going on. DC runs the feds, man. That's something that you can't deny, you know. From what we know about DC, we always hear rumors that, man, if you catch a traffic ticket, you're gonna go in the feds in DC. And they have a lot of structure. They're very organized, and they don't play any games. I mean, I've always respected DC because I know the history of their wars with the Aryan Brotherhood, and I know that they definitely did their thing when it came to that altercation. I know the whole history of that beef right there, and I know they put a lot of pressure on the Aryan Brotherhood. And as a revolutionary person, I gotta admire them for that. You know what I mean? Because the Aryan Brotherhood is a small minority in the prison system, but they do a lot of killing. They're white boys. They're the minority. They're a small little group. So in order to, make themselves look bigger, they commit a lot more murder than the other groups per capita. You know what I mean? You know that per capita word. A little city can have the most murders per capita. You know what I mean? Like a city like Baton Rouge can have more murders than New York City per capita. So the Aryan Brotherhood has more murders per capita in the feds or in the California prison system than other groups because they're small and little small groups are deadly. You know what I mean? If you got a small group of people and everybody's a killer, that's a deadlier group than a big group that has a bunch of people in it. You know what I mean? Because in that big group, maybe 5 or 6 people might be killers out of the whole 100. But DC is an amazing city, man. You know, I think Ant misread my whole thing. Ant is a very intelligent brother, man. Ant has a lot of personality and a lot of charisma, man. And I'm just being a big brother to him and just saying, Ant, bro, like you already got the fame, you got the eyeballs on you, bro. You know, you can use that platform for more positivity, bro. You got a hell of a story. You've been through a whole lot of things in your life, man. And I think you can teach the youth in a better way. You know what I mean? But then again, hey, that's my perspective. You know what I mean? DC is a wonderful city. Like I said, we don't really have much experience with DC. When we go to DC, we go downtown. We go to the museums. We go to the monument. We go walk around like tourists. You know, we don't even know how to get to the hood in DC. Like if somebody dropped me off in DC, the only area I know how to get around is Ethiopian restaurants and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like going to DC blows my mind because they got liquor stores. They got real liquor stores. Here we got something called the alcohol beverage control. We don't have real liquor stores. So when I went to DC, I said, man, they got real liquor stores down here. We got the ABC. Our government has complete control over our liquor stores. So yeah, man, Aunt Glizzy is right. I'm from Richmond, and I couldn't tell you a Richmond rapper, but rap is really I don't know, man. Rap is cool. You know what I mean? It's a good thing to have a rapper coming out of your city who can represent that element of your city. But we got a lot more things going on than just rap. You know what I mean? Richmond, one thing about this place that we do have is we got a lot of black entrepreneurs and things like that. You know, it's a lot of guys that have their own businesses and things of that nature. You know what I mean? You got guys who have their own you know, you got a few guys from the hood that have their own businesses. That's the best thing that I can really say in terms of like the like what you know the hood representation. You got a lot of guys that come from the hood who've opened up their own stores where they sell iPhones and phones and stuff like that. You got a lot of guys who have businesses where they open up restaurants and stuff like that. But we definitely don't have anybody that represent this city in terms of rap. But don't forget, Richmond, Virginia was the murder capital in 1994, bro. And it was the murder capital, I think, in the late 80s. You know what I mean? So Richmond, Virginia definitely doesn't have any rappers, but it's a lot of violence down here. You know what I mean? It's a small city. Richmond probably has about 250,000 people that live in the inner city, and we probably have about 1 million people if you add up the counties. It's just like DC. Like, say that DC is Richmond, Arlington is a county, Alexandria. If you add all that up, it'd be like 1 million people. We got like counties surrounding our inner city. So we're a small city, man. It's 250,000 people in the city. And the majority of the people here, half the people here are white. You know what I mean? So you got a very small black population here. But everybody, yeah, we definitely don't have any rappers. And I don't think we're ever going to have a rapper that blows up because, like I said, in order for that to happen, you've got to really have you really got to have the elements in place for that to happen, man. And if your nightclubs aren't allowing your local rappers to perform, if your local DJs are just going by the main, you know, if they're just playing mainstream artists, yeah, you're never going to get a rapper because nobody's going to get that exposure. You know, like I bumped into a rapper the other day and he was in his 40s and he's a battle rapper and the most exposure he's ever had was he got an interview with Sway in the Morning years ago. So yeah, Richmond is definitely not known for rap. You know, it's a violent city. It's small, but definitely no rappers here. And like I said, Aunt Glizzy, Aunt Glizzy, Aunt Glizzy is a cool dude, man. I like Aunt Glizzy. You know, if I didn't like Aunt Glizzy, I would have never spoke on him. It's just you got to understand, man. When you got people being influenced by you, and Aunt Glizzy has a lot of influence, and I'm pretty sure he has a lot of power amongst the youth. You got to start thinking differently, man. You got to start moving differently. I don't want anything bad to happen to Aunt Glizzy on his rise to fame, man. You know what I mean? When you start beefing with individuals from different places and stuff like that, you got to. It's just, man. There's a better way to go about it. You know what I mean? Like Aunt Glizzy has the potential to be a really, really big person, man. And I don't want Aunt Glizzy to feel like he has to use that 50 Cent technique to do it. You know what I mean? And Glizzy has a lot of charisma. He has a lot of personality. And man, it's a beautiful thing, man, just to see somebody rise up like that. But it's not what you do, it's how you do it, man. You don't want to create a whole bunch of enemies on your rise, because once you get to that point, which Aunt Glizzy is going to get to that point, people have long memories, man. People have long memories. Somebody's going to say, remember that time he said this about me or that about me? Because one thing about this industry, man, that you're going to get into, people are gatekeepers. People have the mentality of, we're only going to let our friends inside these certain circles. Yeah, you can do it independently on YouTube, but eventually you're going to want to go to the next level, bro. You know what I mean? Eventually you're going to want to go to the next level. So you have to be a politician in the way that you move. So peace to Aunt Glizzy. And Richmond, Virginia is definitely not beefing with Aunt Glizzy. I don't speak for Richmond, Virginia, bro. And I like Aunt Glizzy. Aunt Glizzy's a good guy. I'm just telling him as a big brother, hey man, you're on your road to success. So think about every move that you make. You understand what I'm saying? Think about it, because you're throwing a boomerang right now, and that boomerang is gonna go a long way. You're gonna be very successful in the future. So when that boomerang comes back, just make sure that you're able to catch it. You know what I mean? Don't let it hit you upside the head. Is all I'm saying. So peace to Aunt Glizzy, man. He's a funny dude, man. Richmond, Virginia's beefing with DC, man. Don't do that, man. Richmond, Virginia, and DC get along in federal prison. It's a forced kinship. It's not authentic or organic. But when guys go to the feds, they do become genuine friends with DC. But DC's a different animal, though. Like I said, y'all got more in common with very wealthy cities like Arlington and Alexandria. What they got out there, Manassas. I don't even know about Northern Virginia. That's like y'all done took that and kidnapped that area. That's a rich area. Like we don't even know what that is. Like I said, man, they got apartments that cost like $5,000 for a 1 bedroom. We can't relate to that down here. We got $900 2 bedroom apartments. So, peace to Arlington, Virginia, and Alexandria and all that. But yeah, man. But like I said, man, I love DC. I travel to DC a lot. Washington DC is a very great place. I respect DC. You know, I always call DC the political gangsters, because in order for them to do what they do inside of a city that's heavily government oriented, there's got to be some type of agenda out there. You know what I mean? Like, how can you live in a city that where the United States government is based, but they allow all this violence to happen? So I got love for my DC brothers, because I know that they're living under a conspiracy. I know that the United States government wants the black people in DC to face these genocides and stuff like that. Because come on, man, the White House is right there. So why are they allowing all of this violence to occur? You understand what I'm saying? So it's hard growing up in DC. Your own government is against you. You live where your government is based, and they want to kill you. They want you to die. So growing up in DC has to be much rougher than growing up in Richmond, Virginia. You know what I mean? Richmond, Virginia is the old capital of the Confederacy. This is where Jefferson Davis of the Confederacy said, we don't want to be a part of the United States anymore. We want to continue to operate and have slaves, so we're leaving the country. So it's two different animals, you know what I mean? Richmond, Virginia is more southern, I think, than DC is. So that's why there's really no relationship there. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, DC is cool. I got a lot of respect for Washington, DC. I got a lot of Washington, DC friends. And yeah, man, I'm on, and then I got a lot of friends who tricked me. I got a lot of friends from like Maryland, and then they told me they're from DC. And you don't understand that as a person from Richmond, you don't understand the politics of DC. You're thinking that, oh, he says he's from DC, he's really from DC. No, you're not from DC. You're from Fairfax County or something like that. But we don't know that. So it's a lot of guys down here in Richmond from Maryland that's lying to us, telling us they're from DC. So it's a wonderful thing that Aunt Glizzy is blowing up, man, because he's putting us on to the real politics of DC. And DC dudes don't do podcasts and stuff like that. Very few individuals who've been to the feds and have come home have platforms where they talk about their prison experiences and stuff like that. And I think that's because DC goes so hard in the feds that they probably don't want to really put that kind of business out there, because it's trendy right now for people who just came home from the feds to talk about things that are going on within the feds. And I haven't really seen a DC dude open up to that regard about what's really going on in there. I've seen a couple of dudes do it, do a couple of interviews and stuff like that, but for the most part, DC dudes keep their mouth shut. The DC dudes are very, very tight military unit. The DC dudes hold themselves down when it comes to that federal system. They run it. I think they have complete dominance of it. And like I said, I respect them, man, because they went to war with the Aryan Brotherhood, and that's something that I admire from a Black revolutionary standpoint. So yeah, man, peace to the DC people out there. Don't get mad at me, man. I love DC, man.